Hey, Mark.
Hey, what's going on?
Man, I can't call it, man. How you doing, brother?
We good over here today.
Hey, I just want to go ahead and say we live right now, man. From the ring to the concrete. You guys are tuning in live. This week's segment is going to be pretty much dynamic duels when it comes to father and son relationships, and we're going to start it off. I think it'd be no better way than to start off with my marquee people who I look at and I hold up in high regards as two of my favorite people when it comes to boxing, which is Mark Roberson and Jamir Lil Future Robertson. Just let you guys know a little bit about Jamir. He's the 2014 70-pound Golden Gloves champ, 2015 75-pound Eastern Pennsylvania Silver Gloves champ, 2015 80-pound silver medalist Junior Olympics, 2016 Camden versus Georgia tournament champion at 85 pounds. So like I say, this. I see this young man. He's definitely a prodigy when it comes to boxing because he has an old spirit and an old soul. And every time I see him on social media or when I viewed any of his fights, he has an old spirit. He reminds me of one of them old throwback fighters. So he's definitely somebody that you guys definitely need to be watching. Baby, what's going on, Big Mark?
Hey man, same old, same old. Right now, it's crazy. You're talking about all the boxing accomplishments, and we sit right here in the beginning of football season. Future's in football mode right now, so I'm giving them a little break from the ring. But as soon as football season is over with, God willing, we right back at it.
Wow. Okay, we'll touch up on that a little later, man. So he's definitely, man. He has boxing in his blood, and then definitely football. So I see you keeping him busy. Well, just briefly tell us where it all began at, Mark.
I think I can say, Future was born in 2005. So around 2007, 2008, I was training professional fighters at a local gym in our city of Philadelphia, Front Street Gym, and just taking my son to the gym in a stroller, pushing him in a baby stroller, just being a father, trying to keep my boy around, what I was loving to do, what I had in my heart. So he was about 3 years old where he would climb up the steps and climb into the ring and put the gloves on backwards and just throw punches. And it's funny because the owner of the gym would always say, Mark, Coach Mark, you got to get your son out the ring before he get hurt or he's too young. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, you're never too young to want to get started at something, especially if you want to be the best. But of course, I follow orders, but I would take him home and work on his defense at 3. And I just noticed early that he was picking it up so fast. So, the more that I seen he had the focus and the dedication at such a young age, I just turned it up more and more and more. And I think the world took notice when he was about 6. So you're talking like 2010, 2011 is when the world got a hold of him and the talent and the ability and start calling him like a baby prodigy. But yeah, it started back in, I guess, like 07, 08 for Lil Future and myself together.
Okay. What I want to know, and probably there's a lot of fathers, a lot of trainers out there and want to know, how do you keep Future focused when it comes to training?
It's hard because you have to find that balance. I just spoke on that with another trainer the other day. When we say focus, a lot of times we think that you got to be somewhere doing something alone so you won't have the distractions, but too much of that can turn the kid off or anybody off to the real world where you're going to be around a lot of people when the bright lights is on. So I have to balance it out between having them in our home gym, which I call a lab, the garage, I call it the TheMadScientist lab, where he can get his personal one-on-one training. And then when I feel like he's not, all there and he wants to be around his peers and he wants to be around the sound of the boxing ring and the speed bags and the heavy bags and the noise, I got to get him back out into the local gyms. You know, Danny Swift Garcia Gym, NFF Boxing Gym, Johan's Boxing Gym. These are some of the gyms in our city. You know, I got to get him around in these gyms to get him back acquainted and affiliated with his peers and with the older kids and stuff like that. So he has to have that self, you know, he has to understand for himself that he has to be focused. But I just think, again, it takes that balance to answer your question, where you have to have the one-on-one time and then you have to have the group time. So he's been able to really perfect that, dealing with staying focused one-on-one and with the group time too.
Okay. Mark, how do you stay focused as his coach and as his father? I know, you know, both running hand in hand, but how do you stay focused and pretty much, I mean, kind of separate the two?
Communication. Again, it all comes down to communication. Telling him that, you know, just conveying that message to him that when we in the gym, we are coach and fighter. You know, I'm Coach Mark. And I mean, I really tell him this, Coach Steve, is like I tell him all the time, I'm Coach Mark. I know it's hard for you to look at me that way in the gym, but we have to see it that way. I have to see him as just another fighter, just another young boxer who I'm trying to, you know, get him to hone his craft to the best of his ability. And I'm trying to teach him what I know to the best of my ability. So, yeah, and it's like when we leave the gym, then he has to have that understanding as well as I do that I'm dad. And again, his best friend too, not only dad, but you can talk to me. You can open up. If you have a problem in the gym, you know, speak to me as Coach Mark. Tell me exactly what it is, what you don't like about my style or what I have you doing. And if we in a car driving home or we at home and you have a problem, as a son, you have to speak to me, you know, again, let it out as a father. So it's all communication with me to him. So it helps keep me focused and it trickles down to him. So I've learned to just communicate with him to keep everything balanced out.
Does he ever do that? Does he ever tell you, like, Dad, I don't like doing this, or Dad, I don't want to do that?
Not much. I'm still trying to get him to open up a little more. He's just like so compliant. He makes everything easy. He picks up things so easy. He's not of course, a problem child or anything like that. But I still, even with him just hanging with his friends in the street, the peer pressures of him going to the local parks, and I just try to tell him, how was your day out there? Who was you hanging around? And because with his name, the name recognition, he get approached a lot. A lot of people approach him. I saw you on social media. I saw you on TV. I saw you at a fight. I saw you at this gym. So I'm always trying to stay up on the type of people he's hanging around and the questions they asking him, and how is he dealing with that and everything. But so far so good. He definitely has the balance and the humbleness, so it's not a big deal.
Good. Mark, has there ever been a time when you felt like you shouldn't coach him?
I wouldn't say that I shouldn't coach him. And it's funny that you asked me that, Coach. Being a coach yourself, is because I just had that thought last week. It just hit me because I know I pour my heart and soul into it. And everybody speak highly of their kid or whoever they train, their pupils or whatever, that they're going to be the next world champ or they're going to be the next Olympic gold medalist, or, even if it's football or soccer or baseball, that their kid is the next. I truly believe that Future, my son Jamir, a.k.a. Lil Future, is really something special. I believe he is truly a rare breed in this world, but I understand psychologically he can't fathom that thought yet. He can't process how good he is now and how good and how great he can become. So sometimes I'm wondering, am I pushing too hard, like, for him to understand that? And I do think about bringing other people in to maybe, just shake it up. But I know what I have to offer him, like my teachings, definitely get him there. It'll take him to exactly where I feel like he can go, which is to the pinnacle of boxing, and his understanding of what I'm teaching can get him to the pinnacle of boxing. But yeah, to answer your question, thoroughly, I've thought about it, Coach, but I doubt right now if I go that route. I think what I have to offer him is enough right now.
Baby, I just want to say, man, you're doing a magnificent job, and keep doing what you're doing, baby, for real. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. You got a lot of people that's in your corner. Mark, how do you nurture your father and son relationship?
I think it starts from the way my dad raised me. I didn't have an in-home father, 100% of the time, but my dad was in my life. I use the word accessible. He was accessible to me. I could pick up the phone, call him. When I called him and I looked out my door, his car was out there to pick me up, to take me for the weekend, sometime the week or, the summer, take me on vacations and trips, buy me clothes, things that I needed, sometimes things that I wanted. So I just use my history. I use my past as, a reflection, as a starting point of just the respect level my dad gave me. The same thing my dad asked me to open up. I was kind of like a shy child, humble, very respectful to my elders and people like that. My dad would ask me to just be open a little more, to open up a little more. So I just use a lot of those same methods and things of that nature, like, with my son. And right now, what I get a lot, Coach, I have a lot of people think Lil Future is my only child because we're on social media together, because that's my field, boxing. But I actually have 5 children. I'm an overall family man and a father, a husband. My oldest son is 22 years old, which is, Future's big brother. I also have 3 other children outside of my wife. But it's just like him being a baby, he does get most of that time or whatever. But, I have a daughter in college, Howard University. So overall, the family is doing well. And me and his relationship, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. But a lot of it comes from my history and my past, and it's just trickling down.
Got you. I want to talk on training, man, because I love how you train him. I have adopted some of the things, some of the schemes, some of the, I've bitten, as we say, me and your generation. I've bitten some of the things that you've done with Lil Future, and I've taken it from your MadScientist lab and brought it into my own lab myself. So with that being said, I see you teach him defense, man. I mean, that's most important. That's how I was taught. Defense is definitely key. But what I want to know is, there are a lot of fighters out here, these new fighters that's coming up. They've been trained improperly, in my opinion. They're taught offense first, and then they lack defense. Definitely when it comes to proper skills and knowing how to defend themselves. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. We've been doing so many things lately. Like, we just had an interview with PHL 17 TV station, maybe about 3-4 months ago or whatever, right before the summer got started, I think. And that same question was asked, but not in the detail that because you're a coach, you have a better understanding of what you seeing. But to kind of answer that question is like, I said that right there on national TV about when you learn a craft like boxing, the sweet science of boxing, I think 100% of the time you should start with defense first. The offense to come, you can be a wild puncher, a brawler, a boxer puncher or whatever, but all that stuff go out the window if you can't defend yourself. I don't care how hard you can punch, but if a guy get to crack you on your chin or your temple or a good shot to the midsection, the sternum area or whatever, the solar plexus area, you going out first. So again, at 3 years old, I was teaching Lil Future that. I teach all my fighters that. Anybody I get my hands on, we always starting with what I call a catch and counter. I'm sure you heard of that many a times. It's kind of like the Roger Mayweather style pad work, mid work, where it's tat, 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 you tapping the fighter's gloves, then they hit you, they strike 2 or 3 times, and then it's right back to catching the punches. So one of the negatives that might be on what people see in Lil Future is that he's not busy offensively. But when they do look a little deeper, a lot of those people do say he's so sound defensively. I think that's what struck a chord with Andre Ward, with Guillermo Rigondeaux. These top level fighters said when they would watch him, they was just so overly impressed with his patience and poise in catching punches and not retaliating right then and there, that he could sit there and let a kid throw 8, 9, 10 shots and catch at least 7 of them. And the 8th one, if it hit him, it wouldn't hit him flush. And they was just really impressed by, his the upside of him being defensive at such a young age. So that's my technique, Coach. A lot of catch and counter drills, slipping and rolling, stepping around with the footwork, catching shots to the body with the elbow, just those type of things. I just think you really got to have defense before you get started on your offense. The offense is more natural than defense.
All right, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, and I wanted my listeners to hear that because I get so many fighters. I don't care if it's boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, whatever the case may be. If I was always taught you can't hit what you can't see.
Yep.
And if it's not there, you and I both know, man. You ever try to crack somebody before, Mark? I'm sure you done this, and you hit them, and it's like, I'm gonna hit this dude with my best shot just to get him off me, and you miss. That does a lot mentally and physically to you, brother.
Yeah,
that does a lot, man. So, and over time, if they can't do it, more than once, twice, 3 times, man, before you know it, man, that's how Floyd breaks those guys down. Like Andre Ward, Guillermo Rigondeaux. You talking about people the fighters that he named were world class fighters. I'm not talking about B, C. I mean, they above A class fighters. You talking about the elite, the top of the top. And for them to say this about this young prodigy right here, he's the truth. I'm telling you that right now. Listen for him. Jamir, Lil Future, Robertson. He's the next big thing. Hey, Mark, is Lil Man next to you?
He's sitting right here. Yep.
Let me speak to him.
Hello?
Jamir, what's up, baby?
What's up?
Man, how you doing?
I'm good.
Man, I've been watching your films, man, and I'm just getting so impressed by the work that you putting in, and also, I'm seeing that you playing football too. I hear you a real hell of a football player when it comes to playing quarterback.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you this: who are your favorite fighters? Who are your favorite boxers? But I want you to name them like this. I want to see where your mind is at. And I know your dad, I'm probably sure you got a real high boxing IQ. Who are your favorite boxers when it comes to offense, defense, and intelligence within the ring? So first off, who's your favorite boxer when it comes to offensively?
Adrian Broner.
AB, okay. And can you explain why?
Well, I like how he throws his hook off the shoulder roll and the way he snaps his punches.
Okay. That's good. So Adrian Broner, everybody say Adrian Broner is his favorite fighter offensively. Defensively, who's your favorite fighter?
Rigondeaux and Tevin Farmer.
Oh, I heard Guillermo Rigondeaux, but for those people, did you say Tevin Farmer?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's no joke. Tevin Farmer, probably in my opinion, is probably the most soundest when it comes to defense, especially when it comes to slipping and dodging punches. You can't even hit this brother. So those of you who don't know, look him up. Tevin Farmer, Farmer. Very good, very good. And the last one, when it comes to ring intelligence, ring generalship, who's your favorite when it comes to that?
Andre Ward and Bernard Hopkins.
Oh, okay. What about Bernard? Let me ask you, what about Bernard? Because you're from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. What about him?
I like Bernard, like his style, how he's laid back, and just how he just fights. Like he's a great fighter. He's a legend. So I watch him a lot.
Good,
and
good.
I study him.
Okay, well, Future, why I have you on here? I want to ask you a couple questions. Do you have any goals when it comes to the sport of boxing? Do you see yourself going to the Olympics one day, or maybe turning professional?
Yes.
Okay. What about Let me ask you this, because there's a lot of kids that admire you, that watch you. I mean, a lot of adults for all that. My son is one of them. What is your advice for other young fighters training to be their best in the sport of boxing, Future?
Like stay focused and work hard and like just keep doing what you're doing and like study the sport of boxing more and don't just go to the gym and just train. Like you gotta really like focus and study. You like look up boxers and look up your favorite fighter and just study and then try to do what they do or master what they do and then just keep staying focused and work hard.
Future, let me ask you this. Would you say in order for them to study, the education plays an important part in that?
Yes.
So they got to go to school, right?
Yep. They gotta go to school and get their education.
Without a doubt. And I'm pretty sure that's definitely first priority when it comes to your mom and dad house, huh?
Yeah, they push me real hard when it comes to school.
Okay. Well, are there any other sports that you're involved in besides, boxing and football? Is there anything else that you do?
I play soccer
Wow.
and
Okay.
basketball.
Basketball. Okay. And what would you say your favorite sport out of all of them are?
Football.
Football? Okay. Well, Future, you know what, man? I really appreciate you just, letting the world know about yourself. I know there's gonna be a lot of great things to look for from you. I would say, young brother, just stay focused, keep doing what you're doing, but most importantly, man, listen to your dad, because at the end of the day, he's gonna have your most important interest out of any and everybody. All right, mom. All right, young brother.
Alright.
All right, let me speak back to your dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, Coach.
Hey, man. Hey, beautiful kid, man. Definitely, groomed well, man. Definitely groomed well. That's how you know he was raised right, brother.
Yeah, it's every day. You already know how it go. It's something that you try to work on every day. I try to be better tomorrow than I was today. Just always working at the craft of life, like how to better myself, how to deal in business, deal in education, deal in being a husband, being a father. It's just I'm always a work in progress, and at the end of the day, I just need him to watch me so he can get an early jump, a head start. Because like I always say, pertaining to boxing, if you go back to the history of boxing, if you start with Jack Johnson, I believe every generation gets better because they have one more great champion to watch. At one time, we only had Jack Johnson. Then we was able to add if you want to say, I'm pretty sure it was some that came before Sugar Ray Robertson, but let's just say Sugar Ray Robertson was the next great. Then you had, of course, Muhammad Ali. So now you got three great legends to take something from and add who you are. Don't never forget to add, your own abilities and your own greatness with that. Then we had the Sugar Ray Leonards, the Haglers, the Hearns, and then we had the Mike Tysons. Now we got the Mayweathers. And, just in prayer and, I know this is going to be God's plan for my son. But as he told you, he loves football. But I believe he'll come around. It'll all come full circle. And my wife always say boxing is in his blood. I do believe he'll become a world champion one day. And I think he'll be better than those fighters I just named. And I'm not just saying that. It's just the things that I've been seeing him do off camera. Now, the things that I post on social media, mind you, I look at those. Those are giveaways. I want people to believe that's his best. When he's off camera is when he's most focused, and I see some things that a kid his age, or even a 16, 17-year-old kid should not be doing. It's pro-like stuff when he's really locked in, and that's why I say the things I say and push so hard for him to just stay focused, because I believe the pathway is set for him. He'll be greater than Floyd Mayweather. He'll be greater than Andre Ward. He'll be greater than Sugar Ray Leonard if this is what he truly wants in his heart. He got it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And with that support system that he has behind him, you know, he can't fail, brother. He can't fail, you know, especially with God behind him. I'm just looking forward to see how he's going to flourish, man. Definitely. Just a couple more questions. You know, advice, when it comes to advice, Mark, there's a lot of fathers out there, and you know, and moms. I mean, you know, there's an overwhelming mass of mothers that have gotten to the sport that are training their young daughters, you know, and you know, maybe their sons. I want to know, you know, what advice would you give those parents who strive for their sons and daughters to become successful, like Lil Future?
Just make sure that it's a shared passion. Make sure that it's a shared vision. Just not a vision of your own, because, you know, your child can slip through the cracks and still become great. But, you know, at some point it will tell if it was in their heart, if it was a passion, if it was in their blood. So I would just say, make sure it's a shared vision, a shared goal, that you both have the passion and the love and the respect. You have to respect whatever it is. Like I said, education, sports, religion, whatever. Just, you know, if there's a pathway of sports like boxing, just make sure it's a shared vision, that you continue to communicate openly, ask questions, see where the child is at every now and then, you know, what they thinking, if they liking, you know, what they doing, that you're not the one running around trying to gain all the glory from it. Make sure that the focus stays on the child. You know, just that's pretty much all I can say, because, you know, it's to each his own. It's different for everybody. Me and Future, we're around a lot of people who, I guess they want to take the blueprint of what we're doing, but I have to tell them, you know, blatantly sometime, like, you have to go down your own path. Trying to do it like us is not going to wind up the way you may think. So, you know, there's enough room in town for everybody. So I would just tell each and every parent, you know, love your child and just make sure it's a shared vision of both or whatever. And at the end of the day, make sure that God is getting the glory, as well as that the glory is really for your child or whatever. That's probably it.
Most def, no doubt, no doubt. What are some key points to being a successful teacher? Because I like saying the word teacher, because in boxing, I feel like anybody could be a trainer, anybody can be a coach, anybody can get certified, take a USA boxing test, or anybody can go ahead into the you know, whatever sports affiliations you are when it comes to your state, and go ahead and, you know, pay $40-50 and get you know, certified as a second or a cut man or whatever the case may be. But like Bernard Hopkins said, I was an interviewer, I listened to him a while back, and he said there are a lot of great teachers that are diminishing, that are dying off. You know, anybody can hold pass, anybody can be, you know, in that corner and get somebody a mouthpiece, but there are very few and far in between teachers still left around. And I see that in you, brother, because you teach him. He knows why he's throwing the jab. He knows why he's stepping. He understands it, and he loves it. It's like it's kind of like a game where it's like he's being taught, but he don't even know he's being taught. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so with that being said, what does it take to be a successful teacher?
Learning from other great teachers, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's like, man, a man, you know, that I really need to give a lot of credit to, and I'm glad that's just a great question to pose during this interview, is a man by the name of Mr. Wesley Mozon. I was like an understudy of him. I'm talking about the generational gap is probably about maybe 40 years plus. I'm 42. Mr. Wesley passed away maybe about, I would say maybe 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. And at the time, he was easily 65, 70 years old. So I'm sure by now he's about 82, 83, you know, even in his death. And he Man, you just talking about a teacher. I mean, he broke everything down. So I think, again, all glory be to God, because it's just the way things work. You know, I went to a boxing gym over 20 years ago with a friend of mine who was a professional fighter, and it was just to hang out with him. And while I was there, he was getting dressed in the locker room. Make a long story short, I'm punching on the bags, just messing around with my bare hands. And that trainer, Mr. West, and another trainer, Mr. Sonny McCord, walked over to me and said, "How many fights you got, young man?" And I'm like, "Fights? I don't fight. I play basketball." And they like, "Are you kidding me?" They like, "You got to have some boxing experience." I said, "Well, no, I watch a lot of fights. You know, growing up, I watched a lot of boxing." They like, "Nah, you got to come back to the gym. Like, seriously, you have natural, if you never boxed, something is wrong, because you got God-given ability." So I just feel like the knowledge they passed on to me, being an understudy, watching them, then being able to work corners and being an assistant trainer in professional fights at a young age of like 22, 23 years old. And then I have a son, you know, who would become Jamir, Lil Future, Robertson. Like, I can't explain it no better than that. It's just like teachers come from other great teachers. It just come from that lineage of those guys. So I really want you to push that name out there. I'm pushing it now. Mr. Wesley Mozon. He actually beat Bob Montgomery. If you do your history, Bob Montgomery was a world champion back in, I believe, the late 40s. And Mr. Mozon beat him at 19 years old. Was the first guy to defeat Bob Montgomery at the age of 19. Back in the mid 40s, I believe. So the man knew his stuff. He passed most of it on to me. And I'm just, you know, pushing it forward. So the things, that's probably why people can see the advanced techniques in Lil Future at a young age, because, I mean, it was given to me and I'm just giving it to him.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, Mark, I want to wrap it up with this last question. And it's for both of you guys, but I want you to answer it. If Future has anything to say, he can answer as well. But I want to ask you, how do you want your father and son team to be remembered in the sport of boxing?
I can say just that we did it the way we wanted to do it. We did it with enjoyment. We did it to entertain. I always like to tell Lil Future he's a performer and not a fighter. That way I try to just psychologically ease his mind. So I would just like to, you know, be remembered as father and son, as just where we started, in the living room. Me, you know, being on my knees, him being a 4 or 5 year old kid, and I'm sparring with him with the headgear on in the living room, and it's just us. And the conversations after that. So just the relationship part of it, you know, you know, it was just authentic, and we did it our way. Hopefully I don't need the big name. I don't have to be Freddie Roach. I don't have to be a Mayweather, or any of those type of, you know, legendary trainers. I did it just being a mad scientist of boxing, you know, creating my own path. And I hope that people do try to follow us. I hope that we leave a legacy that other father and sons and just other trainers and fighters, you know, will try to follow. But I want to be known as a teacher, and my son to be known as a performer when it's all said and done. That's the way we did it, that I taught and he carried it out by just performing when the bright lights came on.
Definitely. Hey, Mark, before we conclude this interview, people that want to follow you, a Lil Future, on social media, how would they get in contact, you know, with you? I know he's always, you guys always open up for, you know, sponsorship, you know, when it comes to him, especially when boxing comes around and comes to traveling. So how would they get a hold of you?
Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Mark Robertson, M-A-R-K. The last name is Robertson, R-O-B-E-R-T-S-O-N. A lot of confusion is always, you know, the typical Robinson. So it's Robertson, R-O-B-E-R-T-S-O-N on Facebook. You'll see me wearing the black cap to the back. It's not hard to find, with a black shirt on. Little Future is also on Facebook. He has a community page. Jamir, Jamir, Little Future, Robertson, same last name, of course. We also on Instagram. I'm Mad Scientist of Boxing. I know that's a long name, but if you can spell MAD Scientist of Boxing. As soon as you put the first part in, it'll take you right to my page. My son is LILFUTURE 11, Little Future 11 on Instagram. He might have a little Snapchat page or whatever, I think under the same name, Little Future. So those are the best ways to contact me. Also, my email is marksimply@yahoo.com, marksimply@yahoo.com. That way, if you do want to offer any sponsorships or anything like that, you can email me or DM me on Instagram. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it, Coach.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you guys know, my wife and I have a product called the Ball on the Band, Bob. And this father and son team has done a lot when it comes to marketing, getting this out there. Lil Future, I mean, he's taken this so much where, we get so many orders in where people just want to go ahead and get it because they see him and he has a lot of followers. So those of you that are interested in purchasing the Ball on the Band, Bob, you can go to www.boxingbob.com. That's boxingbob.com. Or rbfpglobal.com. And if you go ahead and you go there, if you heard this live broadcast, go ahead and put in discount code Lil Future, LILFUTURE. That's LILFUTURE. And that definitely help out these young men when it comes to him going to the nationals. And you can say that you definitely supported him, had a big impact on his career as him growing up. Well, Mark, I really appreciate your time, brother. I really do. I know it's late over there in Philly, man. We threw our time difference, but I really appreciate you, buying with me and getting this out to my crowd, man, to my fans and to my followers.
And I want to quickly say, before we go off, if I have time, that
sure.
It's not just about buying that BOB product that Coach Stokes and them offer. I mean, it's a great tool. I remember Coach Stokes first told me, when you first told me about the usage of it, that you believe it could add to Little Future's talents and everything like that in our training regimen. I'm just thinking so many people offer us this and this and that, and it really don't work. But I'm firsthand saying, we decided to endorse it and promote it because it worked wonders. Like, the Future already has great hand-eye coordination, but it increased it. I'm talking about in less than 2 weeks' time. His footwork was better. His range, his vision of being able to swivel his head, get his head on a swivel and pivot, just because of the direction of the ball, the way the ball moves. So, thanks to you for offering us that tool and giving us that to implement in our workouts and our training. It's worked wonders. And again, like he said, you can come on my page and, see Little Future using it. And again, please order that BOB. Please go to that website today, tomorrow, and order it. It will change everything about your workouts, whether it's boxing or anything else. The hand-eye coordination will become awesome. So we back in that 100%. We continuing to push that product. So we want to thank you again for that, Coach Steve.
No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it live from the man himself. A future in the making, Lil Future, and a future Hall of Fame coach himself, Mark Roberson, the Mad Scientist. My brother, I really appreciate it. I'll be talking to you soon. You take care, okay?
Yep, you too. Thanks again.
All right. Bye.
Peace.